All right. Hello, everybody. It's been a while since we've spoken on this channel. Although I did the live stream for the Trump RNC speech, but that wasn't a real video. It was kind of a off the cuff live stream I decided to do just to document it for history's sake, I guess. I don't know why I decided to go live. I was going to pre-record it, but I thought, why not just do it live and then post it? It's live on X as well. But I wanted to give an update on the channel because there's been a 3-year hiatus since I was here last. Getting into all of that will take too long. There were issues with the channel, but then there was also the fact that we had a period of time where there wasn't a lot going on. And this channel sort of grew and got semi-popular during the 2020 election and leading up to the election. And then there were issues around the election time, which we won't get into, but the channel is back. All is good. And so I've decided that I do want to begin posting videos again, because you're looking at what's going on right now and it's like, how can I miss out on this? How can I not do this? So we're going to do it. We're going to cover the election, but I wanted to give sort of an outline, sort of an idea as to what the channel is going to be like going forward. Now, this is just the initial plan. It might not be. Let me just fix the camera a little bit. It's too low. This is just the initial plan for the channel. I may deviate into other things, but the real plan is that I'm going to cover the horse race. I'm going to talk about polling. I'm going to talk about the dynamics of the race, and I'm just going to give updates on what's going on. So it's probably going to be less commentary than it is actual data, and I'm going to try and keep you updated on the state of the race. Okay. Now, I may deviate into commentary. If I do, I do. Let's see how the channel goes. Let's see how people like the videos I'm putting out and the live streams I'm doing. I do plan to put out pre-recorded videos, but also do live streams because I really like the live format, especially now that I can go live on X. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go live on X, and I'm going to try and figure out Rumble, but for now it's going to be YouTube and X. And look, we'll see how it goes. I am grateful for all the people who have already subscribed. You've been hanging around since, when was it? Like 2020, probably the last video, other than the live stream I did for the RNC speech. But so there's been a lot of people who are still here. When I returned to the video, I think we're at 577 or something like that. So I'd like to get that to 1,000, because once you get to 1,000, then there's monetization. And then I think once you get to 1,000, you just hopefully keep going upwards. So that's the plan. And it's going to be hopefully a wild ride, just like it was in 2020. Part of the reason why I decided to come back and start making videos is that I'm looking at what's going on. I'm thinking, like, every 3 days, something crazy happens. Like just now, I just found out that the Hamas leader was assassinated. So, you go 2 days thinking, oh, wow, nothing has happened in 2 days, and something else happens. And so I felt like I was missing out. I wanted to get back to doing what I used to do. Now, I don't know if it's just going to be here. You see, I'm just in my apartment here. I don't know if it's going to be here. I might, kind of create a studio like I had before. I don't know if you remember what I had before. I used to have backdrops and green screen and all that. But whatever, we'll figure that out later. But I do want to start posting again and interacting with you. And, I encourage people to comment and jump in the live chat. When I stopped making videos in 2020, the channel was doing very well. Every week I was getting a lot more subscribers. And so it was kind of unfortunate when it happened, and I won't get into it. Maybe I will on a stream in the future about what happened and why I stopped making videos. But the channel was doing very well. I was getting a lot of great feedback. I was getting a lot of comments on videos, and even comments of people who didn't like it or were criticizing me or whatever. But it was all good. It was just a lot of action. Now, at that time too, this is back when Twitter was not owned by Elon Musk. So I was not live streaming on Twitter. There was no Twitter Premium, I don't even think. So it was a much different time. And I think now we have a great opportunity to make an impact. I think there's a lot of people who are interested in what's going on. I've never really seen the interest. It's interesting, you know, because I would say a couple months ago, we were hearing about how this was going to be the election that nobody wanted to pay attention to, because everyone was saying, we don't like Trump, we don't like Biden, we don't like anybody, so we're just not going to pay any attention. We're not going to vote. And now all of a sudden, the Trump side is energized because of the assassination attempt. And the left is recently energized because of Kamala Harris jumping in the race. So, and the dynamics of the race have changed in the last week or so. And I might talk about that in this video just to kick things off. But again, if you have any questions, if you remember the good old days of COVID when we started these videos, please comment and stick around, like, subscribe, the whole thing. So I'm going to talk about the race for a couple minutes and then we'll end it. This isn't going to be a long stream, but I wanted to make a proper video to kind of kick things off. So there's been a lot of talk recently about the surge in support for the Democrat tickets since Kamala. Now, we don't even know what the actual ticket is, but since Kamala joined. And I wanted to address that a little bit. And I wanted to talk about how the dynamics of the race have changed, because they really have. Now, it's hard to say if they've changed in Trump's or against Trump. We know that they haven't changed in Trump's favor. I guess that's probably an agreement of universally on that. That's not beneficial for Trump that Biden dropped out. Now, it remains to be seen whether or not this is actually going to really hurt him. My take on this is that there are areas where Kamala is going to help the Democrat side, and there are areas where she's going to hurt. The areas where she's going to help, and we're still looking at polling, and by the way, the polling is all over the place. I prefer to look at the averages. I prefer to look at Nate Silver. I have always been a fan of Nate Silver. Going back to 2012, even when, you know, the right was saying that Nate Silver doesn't know anything, I have always been a fan of Nate Silver. I have always been a follower of his. And he's been taking a lot of flack from the left lately because they're saying he's unfair now, because when Biden was thinking about dropping out, he was really pushing Biden to drop out because he was looking at the data, and they were kind of just caught up in, you know, what the elites were forcing Biden to drop out or something. But anyway, I've always been very trusting of what Nate Silver puts out, because what he does is he takes the polls and he pushes them through a model, and the model shoots out a probability, not an actual poll. Because you can take a poll on Monday at 10 a.m. and then take a poll on Tuesday at 10 a.m. and you can get very huge discrepancies between the results. What Nate Silver does is he takes all of the polls, or all of the polls that he deems to be reliable. He'll rate them A, B, C, or whatever, and he'll put them all together and average them and come up with probabilities. Now, I know people are going to say, wait a second, Nate Silver got 2016 wrong. And those who have been on my channel since its inception know that I have always said Nate Silver did not get 2016 wrong. Nate Silver actually had Trump at 33% chance of winning, which is not a great chance, but it's still a chance. It's a somewhat probable chance. The New York Times had Trump at 1% chance of winning. And Nate Silver got the popular vote correct, or around correct, within a couple of decimal points, I believe. And Nate Silver this week has Trump's chance of winning at 60-something%. I haven't checked it recently today, but he put out the model, I believe it was this morning or yesterday morning. And the model showed Trump with a 63% chance. Now, getting back to what Kamala does or doesn't do for the Democrat side. I believe that Kamala is going to help the Democrats in the Sun Belt states. So Arizona, Georgia especially, and Nevada. So those were states where Trump had pretty substantial leads. As a matter of fact, I think most pollsters had just decided that those states were going to be in Trump's camp. Like they weren't toss-ups anymore. They were lean or going towards the Republican side, towards Trump's side. I think now that Kamala is in the race, you might want to put those back into the toss-up categories, particularly Georgia. I was listening today to Mark Halpern's podcast, and they were talking about, they had Joe Scarborough on, which, Joe Scarborough, whatever. And they had Newt Gingrich on, and they were talking about Georgia and how for some reason Georgia has just never been a state that has liked Donald Trump. And of course, Joe Scarborough had this anecdotal story about how his son, who goes to the University of Alabama, he has friends, and all his Alabama Republican friends love Trump, and all of his Georgia friends who are Republican hate Trump. And there's just something in the water in Georgia or whatever where they don't like Trump. But I think the dynamics of politics in Georgia and the demographics in Atlanta and the suburbs of Atlanta are going against Trump heavily. And the reason why Trump was leading despite that is because Biden was just such a terrible candidate. But now that Biden's been replaced, I think Georgia is back in the toss-up. Now, the flip and the corollary to this is that Kamala hurts the Democrats and helps Trump in the Rust Belt states because for one reason or another, Biden has this connection with Pennsylvania voters, Michigan voters. And I was always, astonished when they would go, CNN sends John King to like wherever. They have a segment called In the Middle of Nowhere or something. I can't remember what the name of it is, some silly name. They send John King out to some crazy middle of nowhere town. I mean, the last one, and you would think John King has been at CNN for like 50 years. You'd think that they wouldn't be giving him these crappy assignments, but whatever, he takes them. And the last one I saw, he was in somewhere in Pennsylvania, like a nursing home. And all of them were voting for Biden or wanting Biden, whatever. So anyway, the Rust Belt states did like Biden. Even his worst polling in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin was like 44, 45%. So he still had support in those states for reasons I don't know why. He's always had that Scranton thing going on, even into his, horrific last year here, where he's hardly been able to communicate a sentence. He has still had the ability to bring in support from these Rust Belt states. Kamala can't really do that as well. I don't think she connects as well up there. Those states, the demographics of those states are different. So the analysis basically is that there are 3 states that Kamala is putting back in play for the Democrats, and there are 3 states where she's kind of pushing them farther away. So to say that she's been a great addition to the ticket, I mean, compared to what? I know I was talking to someone recently, and they said, well, what do you think about Kamala? And I said, well, compared to what? Like for the Democrats, it's like, are we comparing her to Joe Biden? If we're comparing her to Joe Biden, then fantastic. But then you have Joe Scarborough comparing her to Barack Obama, which is crazy. So as it stands now, she's put the Democrats in a much better position just because now they have a candidate who's like, functioning. And it remains to be seen who she picks as her VP pick. I think it's going to be Shapiro from Pennsylvania for a few reasons. The first reason is what we were just talking about, how she helps him in Pennsylvania, or he helps her in Pennsylvania where he needs it. Sorry, she needs it. The second reason is, and I need to be fact checked on this, but I think Shapiro is Jewish. And that's going to help her possibly with that cohort who has turned sour on Biden and the Biden administration because of the perceived lack of support for Israel. Now, while we're on that topic, there are a lot of people, a lot of political insiders who are talking about the effect that the, I guess you could say, Muslim population in Michigan will have on the race, because they are typically people who would vote Democrat but may not this time because they think the Biden administration has been too friendly to Israel. So you have in the Israel, Hamas, Gaza issue, you have the Biden administration caught in the middle with these two sides who are angry at them. So I think Shapiro being added to the ticket might help that a little bit. I don't know for sure, but I think that might help. So we're going to wait and see who she picks. I heard today it's probably going to be Monday where she'll make the pick. So we'll do a video on Monday. By the way, if you're watching, like and subscribe, please, and comment. But I think it's going to be Shapiro. The other option is, I think his name is Walz, W-A-L-Z from, or W-A-L-Z from Minnesota. That could be a pick. I don't know if there are any other names. My first thought was Mark Kelly from Arizona. Personally, I think if I'm putting myself in their shoes, Mark Kelly is the best pick for them. If Mark Kelly were the Democrat candidate, I think we would be in trouble if you're a Republican. So, because Mark Kelly is very popular for a host of reasons. Mark Kelly is, first of all, very moderate. Secondly, his wife is Gabby Giffords, who herself survived an assassin. I guess you could call that an assassination attempt. I'm not sure if it was just a mass shooting or whatever, but she was shot in the head back in 2010, I believe it was. So Mark Kelly is really a candidate who the Republicans and Trump should probably fear more. So look, if I'm hired as a consultant, which I would never be, for Kamala Harris, I would probably say Mark Kelly. I haven't seen much of Shapiro, but we'll see. The other topic of discussion is about whether or not J.D. Vance has been a good pick for Trump. It's incredible watching the media just coalesce around a narrative, because 3 weeks ago it was like Kamala was the worst VP ever, and the other narrative was that J.D. Vance now, and the other narrative now is that J.D. Vance is a horrible pick, and now that Kamala is like the greatest ever. So look, I don't know. This is, let's fix this here. Camera gets out of focus. Look, I don't know what to make of this pick yet, because I haven't seen Vance enough. I know a lot about Vance. I wish the camera would focus. There used to be like a self-correcting thing here. There used to be an option where it would focus for you. Let's see here. Still getting it. We're still working on the kinks of the operation. Whatever, I'm still going to keep going. Has J.D. Vance been a good pick is the topic. I think J.D. Vance is not going to play well in the media, because J.D. Vance, for two reasons. The first reason is that J.D. Vance in media circles is being viewed as a turncoat, because J.D. Vance was once the darling of the media, because J.D. Vance used to go on mainstream news, and he would be brought on for the reason and for the purpose of talking about Trump's voters, while at the same time disparaging Trump himself. So JD Vance would go on and he would talk badly about Donald Trump, but then he would explain, here's why Trump has so much success, because I know these people in Ohio and in the Rust Belt states and the places where, the elites have forgotten. But now he has turned into like this MAGA warrior. And so they don't like that. They see that as like treasonous. So they don't like him and they're going after him for that reason. The other reason they don't like him is because they know that he is going to bring in more votes for Trump in those areas. And that's why he was chosen, or at least I would like to think that's why he was chosen. I think he was probably chosen because Trump gets advice from Don Jr. and Don Jr. told him, hey, this is a great pick. But I have an inkling that part of the reason why they chose him was to get these Rust Belt states, because he's from there and he knows these voters. So look, we'll see. I mean, both of these situations, both Kamala and JD Vance, we haven't really seen enough of them, so we don't really know what's going to happen and how they're going to be perceived. But I can tell you, just to reiterate, the reason why they are circling the wagons and attacking JD Vance is because they see him as treasonous, because he used to be brought on as a guy who could talk about Trump's voters while also bashing Trump. And now he's turned into like this MAGA warrior who goes out there, and now he's the VP pick. So they're going to be attacking him for that reason. But I think he is going to help Trump in these Rust Belt states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, because he's not from those states, but he's familiar with the challenges of the people in those places. And what Kamala needs to do in her VP choice, not that the VP pick matters that much, but maybe it helps. She needs to pick someone who helps her in those states. If she picks Mark Kelly doesn't really help her up there. He helps her in Arizona. But if she picks Shapiro, you got to think he helps her in Pennsylvania. Or if she picks Whitmer. Now, I don't think she will do that because a double female ticket, probably not in the cards, and they probably know that. But they're looking to pick someone who can help them up there because that's where she is weakest. So I would presume that Shapiro will be the pick. She will be the pick. So we're going to keep covering everything into the convention. She's probably going to get a bounce out of the convention. And my guess is coming out of the convention, you're going to see her probably take a little bit of a lead. And instead of Nate Silver having it at 63% chance Trump's going to win, it's probably going to go to a 50% chance or maybe even below. That's my prediction. That doesn't mean that Trump's going to lose the election, but that's sort of where we're going to be at, I think, after the convention, unless there's some, something happens or she doesn't do well at her speech or whatever. I continue to believe that it was sort of a missed opportunity for Trump at the RNC, but we can get into that later on. But a lot of it depends on what kind of campaign Trump runs from here on out. Because if you remember, in 2016, he ran a very disciplined campaign in September, October, because he was listening to Steve Bannon and Kellyanne Conway. And regardless of what you think about both of those people, they made him focus. They kept him on the prompter. I remember there was one campaign event where Trump literally said out loud, "Focus, Donald, stay focused, stick to the script," because it was clear they had told him to start doing that. that you have to start having a message. And he kept to that message for a long time. And that's, that discipline, I think, really helped him. So if he's able to do that, I think he's got a better chance. So we're going to keep updating. Obviously, right now I have no graphics. I have nothing to show you, no videos or anything. But I plan to be doing that. And, we'll look at Nate Silver. We'll look at all the polling. We'll look at all the data. We'll keep track of what's going on. We'll comment on what's going on. And to reiterate what I said at the beginning of the video, I am going to do some commentary. We'll see how it goes. It could go more into commentary. Those of you who remember me from 2020, I do have opinions on all this stuff. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. But for now, I want to stick to the horse race and just focusing on that. And instead of you hearing what I think about all the issues. But my guess is that we're going to continue to see things happen. And that's, again, why I wanted to start making these videos again, because things just keep happening. Like even tonight, there's the assassination of the Hamas leader, which is going to have wide-ranging repercussions. I also saw that Carrie Lake won her primary. Whoop-de-doo. I don't think that's, that's huge news. But, to those on YouTube, please subscribe. To those on X, you're probably already following. If not, follow me on X, Florida Millennial. My YouTube right now is just Tyler James. So I don't know if I'm going to change the name. It used to be something else, I think. And then when I stopped making videos, I just reverted back to my name. So as we go along, we're going to get a better idea of how the channel is going to go, and maybe we'll come up with a good name for it. But I wanted just to start making videos because I'd put it off way too long. And the more you put it off, the more you keep putting it off. So please subscribe if you're on YouTube, comment, like, everything else, share, blah, blah, blah. I can't tell right now who's watching on X and who's watching on YouTube. But this is the first time I've ever gone live on X. And I really, I don't know what the feedback is like on X. So, but as you know, I'm a YouTube veteran. So I know how it goes on YouTube. I have more on YouTube. But if you're on YouTube, welcome back, or at least welcome back for me, because it's been a 3-year hiatus. Like, subscribe, comment. We're going to keep trying to grow the channel. We've got 99 days. This is the perfect time to start. 99 days till the election. Will I make a video every day? I wish I could. I aim to. Will that happen? I don't know. I do intend to cover the convention. It may be painful at times. But look, the RNC was painful at times. I mean, I have a lot to say about that too, by the way. The RNC was, it got rave reviews, but honestly, I wasn't crazy about it. I mean, the whole Kid Rock thing, I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about that on another live stream. I don't think I'll talk about that tonight, but I do have comments about that. I do think it was, in many ways, a missed opportunity, but we'll do the convention. When she picks her VP, I've heard it's going to be Monday. I don't know what you guys are hearing, but I heard today that Monday was the day that they were going to announce, possibly on the weekend. I don't know, but it's one of those things where they probably haven't decided it yet. So I have also heard there's rumors that Kamala is going to be calling upon the great David Plouffe. You remember him from 2008 with Obama. I don't know if he was involved with the Clinton campaign. I think a lot of the Democrats, the Obama people from the Obama campaign, got shoved out of the Clinton campaign. And I think a lot of the Biden people, like, they have their own people too. There's all these little cliques within the Democrat Party. I guess the Republicans have that too, where it's like the Bush people and then the Trump people and like the Cruz people, you know, like the conservative caucus, Freedom Caucus people. But I've heard that they're going to try and get David Plouffe. If I were Kamala, I would be getting David Axelrod, because I honestly think, and I know I might like lose support for this if I have a very conservative audience, I actually think that David Axelrod is the smartest Democrat advisor out there. You know, call me crazy, but the guy got Obama elected twice. So, and whenever he's on CNN, whenever I do watch CNN, if I have to, he seems to be the most balanced and smart one there. But of course, maybe they don't want him for whatever reason, because he's an Obama person. I don't know if the Kamala people and the Obama people get along. I have no idea what the dynamics are of all that. But so that's the rumor, that she's seeking out a really good campaign manager. Now, Trump, right now he has, what's her name? Susan Wiles. And I mean, he's got Jason Miller there too. Jason Miller, the guy who tweeted out every day, "Where's Hunter?" in 2020, like as if that was a good campaign strategy. I'm sorry. See, I'm already getting into the commentary side. I can't help myself. But like, those are just not really the people you want running the campaign. I mean, I had people in mind. I don't know if I should say, but look, he had smart people around him in 2016 advising him on policy and on discipline. And I think he needs those people again if he wants to win. If I'm giving you a very unbiased opinion here, I think he needs those people back. Because look, we might as well let's just talk about the RNC speech now. Fine. The first 15 minutes of the RNC speech were great. Okay. He hit all the right notes. He's recounting the horrible day, blah, blah, blah. But the rest of the speech wasn't that great. Okay. It was like a normal campaign rally he gave. And that's just not what that speech was supposed to be. The speech was supposed to be the RNC convention speech. Now, look, the lucky thing for him is that the majority of people were probably asleep by the time he got into all that stuff. I mean, I know people who are actual real Trump fans, and they told me that they actually didn't even watch the whole speech. They fell asleep. They got bored. So, look, I mean, I think it was a missed opportunity. I think really what has happened, and I commented on this when I did the live stream about the convention. What's happened is that Trump initially came in 2016, and he turned the Republican Party and the Republican ticket into a nationalist and populist movement. Okay? So the party became him, because those were Trump's views, or at least Trump's inclinations. I think once Bannon got a hold of him, you know, he was just like full on whatever Bannon was telling him, and whatever was on the prompter is what he was saying and what the campaign was about. So the party became Trump. Now Trump has become the party, because if you look at the speech that he gave a couple weeks ago, a lot of those things are boilerplate Republican issues that you would hear Mitt Romney talk about, that you would hear George W. Bush talk about. If Nikki Haley were the nominee, she'd be talking about those things. She'd be talking about energy independence. She'd be talking about, what else was he going on about? Inflation, taxes. These aren't the things that Trump talked about. Go back and watch the 2016 acceptance speech, or better yet, go and watch the inauguration speech. The whole thing was a crusade against the elites, against the power structure, against this corporate Leviathan that they're going after. That's what this was all about back then. Remember? People may not remember because it was a long time ago, But Trump used to be like, I remember there was an ad that he put out, I think like 2 weeks before the election in 2016. And I can't remember who said it. I can't remember who tweeted it, but it was someone from the left. It may have been David Axelrod or somebody like that. And they tweeted out that this ad, if you just read the transcript of the ad, you would think it was a Bernie Sanders ad, because the whole thing was about the elites, about Wall Street, about special interests, about corporate, corrupt power structure in Washington. And there was this line he said, they don't have your interests in mind. And now we're back to like this, as I say, boilerplate Republican stuff, inflation, energy independence, Israel, which whatever. I'm not even saying I oppose some of those things, but the message is just totally different. Trump has become the party. And to the extent that he still has populist inclinations, they are very, very muted compared to what they used to be. And so we're dealing with a much different candidate here. And I think a lot of that has to do with who's running the show, with who's advising him, with who's around him. And who's around him is no longer Steve Bannon and who went to prison in Miami, here in Miami. I can't remember his name. I can't remember his name. But those were people who were advising him, and they were populist, they were protectionist, they were in some ways nationalist, even though that word is like very iffy. So the message has changed back to sort of a generic Republican message. And the question is, can that generic Republican message win him the states that he won in 2016, Michigan, Pennsylvania? That's why they voted for him. They voted for him because he was, honestly, more Bernie Sanders than he was Mitt Romney. Those states are more apt to vote for someone with that kind of message. But Trump's not really giving that message anymore. He's not really on those issues anymore. So, and there's a reason why Mitt Romney, John McCain, George W. Bush lost Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, because the voters there don't respond to the generic boilerplate Republican issues, because they actually don't agree with a lot of them. But when Trump came along and started talking about job loss and corruption in the government and the elites and outsourcing and tariffs and issues like that, they responded, because that's who those people are up there. That's their livelihood. You know, you're looking at complete neighborhoods, complete districts who are almost all employed by automakers. Or if they're not working directly for GM or some automaker, their job is downstream from it. So that message played really, really well there. And it was a perfect storm for him, because the message played well there. Excuse me. The message played well there. And it was combined with going up against Hillary Clinton, who was the embodiment of that sort of career, corrupt political establishment. So those two things worked out really, really well for him. But he's not really hitting those same notes now. So, you know, it's kind of hard to say, you know, can Trump win back the people that he had in 2016 that he lost in 2020? My thinking is, as long as he is not speaking to their issues and in their I don't want to say dialect, but in their, the word is escaping me. But the invective is not lined up to what those people want to hear. He's not going to win those states, to be quite frank. Now, I don't know if Kamala is up to that task either. So Trump might just win it because people see the Biden administration as a failure, and she was the vice president. But the only real way to make sure you win those states is to speak to the issues those people care about. And I don't really think he's doing that right now. So, and of course, there's just a lot of people who don't like him and won't vote for him no matter what he's talking about because of maybe January 6th and things like that. I don't think January 6th is as big of a deal as people really make it out to be, or it's just, maybe, they see him as an unlikable character or something. But anyway, it's going to be very interesting. I've given enough commentary for tonight. I think we're at 40 minutes. But I'm glad I got to come on here and make a video so I can at least post something to kick things off. I hope to be posting, as I said, I wish I could post every day. I don't think that's going to happen, but I hope to be able to be on here quite a bit and to be interacting. And hopefully we can get to the point where people are like sending in super chats and asking questions, and we can have a discussion about where the race is. Hopefully we can have some guests and things. So, like I would love to get people like Ready Go Politics on here, or nobody high level, maybe eventually, but I want to get the channel up and running again. The car's been at the shop for a couple of years, and we're just turning on the ignition and driving around the block again. So we gotta go easy before we get back on the freeway, but rest assured we will. And look, I appreciate everybody who has supported the channel going back, as I said, to 2020. I think I made my first video in like March or something of 2020. This is like in the middle of COVID. Or you know what? I think I did a couple in 2019. But I really started doing commentary stuff and election-centered stuff during COVID, because I guess everyone did that during COVID. They just like started their own podcast or whatever. So, and I hope to maybe be in the studio instead of just like in the middle of my apartment here. So, but that will happen when it happens. But I appreciate all the support from people and for all the subscriptions. We built the channel up, and I was always looking for that elusive 1,000, and we will get there. We will get back to 1,000. And I think we'll get back there pretty quickly, actually, when I start, pumping out more videos. But I'll need your help. So like and subscribe and comment. And, right now I think it's 577 or something. But I look forward to doing many more streams, and we'll keep talking about the issues. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. It's like, somebody said on the Mark Halperin podcast today that this may be the most exciting 90 days in like the last 50 years or something like that. So, and think of all the stuff that's happened just in the past month. What is that saying? Like you have decades where nothing happens, and then you have weeks where decades happen, or something like that. I think it was like a Stalin quote or something. So anyways, more videos to come. If you're watching live, like, subscribe, comment. If you're watching the replay, please do the same. If you are somebody who has been a subscriber since the inception, thank you. If you're new to the channel, thank you for watching. Thank you for checking it out. Please like, please subscribe. I will do my very best not to disappoint you. I will not let anybody down. I will be here. We will be all the way to Election Day, and I look forward to it all. So thank you, and we will talk soon.